guys, I just finished casting the Masters. It was so cool and fun, and I really appreciate all the feedback I got in the comments, all the birthday wishes. Today, on the other hand, is patch day, and vampires are back. I can hardly contain my excitement. I'm going to jump right into this deck. I hope you guys enjoy this. And just to give context, we've always had vampires, but vampires became an outdated archetype because all you had to do to beat vampires was win round 1, bleed round 2, meaning you kept playing cards until they had to commit all their strongest cards, and then in a short round 3 you just won. But now, because of a new card called Regis, we get to commit round 2 and still get out in a short round 3 with a huge point slam bigger than Gord. Let's jump right into it and let me explain how this deck works. So firstly, the man of the hour, it is Regis Reborn. This is a game changer. On deploy, he will drain an enemy unit by 3, meaning he will damage an enemy unit by 3 and get 3 power because of it. So he only gets the amount of power he drains. Already, that makes him a 7-point card right off the bat. Now here's the cool part, right? At the end of your turn, while in your hand or in your deck, if there is an enemy unit with bleeding, and we'll make sure there's always an enemy unit with bleeding, he will increase his base power by 1 point. So ideally, you have this card ready to go at the end of round 3, while having given him a point every single turn. He can play for like a whopping 20 points if you play this right, and he will most likely win you the game. His base power increases like Melusine, so he can't be targeted with Morkvarg. Most people don't yet know how he works, so I have had people hero pass thinking I can't catch up, and then bam, Regis drops onto the board. So other than that, we have seen some nice buffs to vampires. CDPR has given them some much deserved love, so you might want to take a look at this deck in closer detail. Firstly, we'll start from the bottom up. We have the Bruxas. They're Thrive cards, they're bronzes, they work like they've always worked. Ideally, you want cards to give bleeding every single turn. These are just one of the tools we'll use. Now, even though she's Thrive, meaning every time you play a card bigger than her, she gets an extra point, you don't have to play her first. In fact, the card I tend to play first, if given the chance, is Nekurat. Nekurat is so strong. He has Zeal, meaning you can use him immediately. He has an order ability in the melee row, which means he gives an enemy bleeding for 2 turns, and he has a cooldown of 2, meaning you can use him every second turn. But whenever you play a vampire card, this reduces the unit's cooldown by 1. So let me explain how that works. It means if you play Nekurat, and in the next turn you play a vampire, Nekurat will already be at 0 cooldown, and you'll be able to play him again, meaning you can play him every single turn if you have enough vampires in hand. So, if I can, I normally start off with Nekurat, only if I am on red coin, meaning I go second, because he's ready to go immediately. There's no need to play him if your opponent hasn't committed a card yet. So, you play Nekurat, you play Bruxa after Nekurat, so she doesn't get the Thrive, but you trigger him instead and get 2 extra points of bleeding. 2 points is worth more than 1 point of Thrive, right? So that's how I tend to do this. Then we go up. Another card you ideally want to play in order to assure you win the round is this card that has been totally reworked. It's Vleder. Okay, so normally what Vleder did was, whenever you gave bleeding to an enemy card, this card would get the same amount of vitality. So let's say you gave a card 4 bleeding, Vleder would get 4 vitality, meaning it would take 4 turns for Vleder to actually get points. But he's now 6 provisions, 4 power instead of 5, and the reason he costs more is because now he gets the boost immediately. So if you give a card 4 bleeding, Vleder gets 4 points immediately. You can get this every single turn, as he has a counter that will restart every turn. This is such a strong card. It's very much like Messenger of the Sea, old school greatsword if you will. You transfer the bleeding directly to Vleder as boosts, meaning you double the amount you would have gotten. It's really strong, and I suggest you have at least 2 of these ready to go. Alright, then we have Garken. Garken is probably Vleder's little brother. He doesn't exactly do what we'd like him to do like Fleader, but he's still a 4 provision engine. So at the end of every allied turn, this card will boost itself by 1 if an enemy has bleeding. So he can only get 1 point a turn, but he's still nice to have as he is a vampire and he will be triggering that Necurat just again to give you more bleeding. Then we have Plumerd. Plumerd gives an enemy unit bleeding for 2 turns. If bonded, meaning you already have one on the board, he will give bleeding for 4 turns instead. Now obviously I like the fact that he can give bleeding for 4 turns. We don't always have both at the same time, but this doesn't really matter. Our deck is so synergistic that even if you miss some of your most important cards, you can easily still win if you play a long round with all your vampires. Okay, so those are the bottom vampires. Let's go to the more costly ones. We've got the Alp at 5 provisions. She's also a bronze. What she does is she gives an enemy unit bleeding, 3 bleeding the moment you play her. And then the next turn you can use her order ability and give her another bleeding 3. Alright, and then we have Gale. Gale is here for a little bit of removal. So, on melee, he will damage an enemy unit by 1. If it's bleeding, he will deal 3 damage instead. So the idea is to always use Gale if you can actually kill the card. Because if you get the death blow, he will boost himself by I'm not gonna edit this out, I'm gonna forget. Anyway, if you get the death blow, he will boost himself by the destroyed unit's base power. So let's say you have a 8-point Bear Witcher, and you've bled him down all the way to like 2 points. Because he has bleeding on him, Gale will damage him by 3 points, killing him. And then Gale will boost himself by 8 points because he killed the card. So, a very strong card, you want to use him wisely. People ask me why I don't run the Toad Prince in this deck. The Toad Prince isn't a vampire, Gale is. Just make sure you use him the way he's intended to be used. Okay, now we have Queen of the Night. Queen of the Night has the option of being played on the melee row or the range row. Melee will give will give an enemy 3 bleeding, whilst range will purify a unit. Often we might need to use ranged because this is our only purify option. If somebody plays a defender, you want to use Queen of the Night, and you can then get past the defender and perhaps kill a card that, you know, is making your life more difficult than it should be. Parasite being one of those removal cards. You can damage an enemy by 6, or you can use Parasite on one of your own cards to keep it safe, and it will boost it by 6. Remember, this deck is only as strong as your ability to give bleeding to units. If they block you with the defender and you can't deal with the defender, you're going to struggle, because you're going to have to spend all your bleeding on one card that's going to go wasted. Regis will still buff, but Regis does prefer that you have ample amounts of bleeding targets in case one runs out. I do prefer to get rid of the defender. If there is a veiled card, you're also in trouble. If somebody plays uninteractively, you're in trouble, because if Regis doesn't tick, he's just a complete waste. Okay, now back in the day, how this deck worked was you had to use Orianna to win the round, a long round. She's still very powerful, but if you have to commit her a little bit earlier, you're allowed to do so because you now have Regis as a backup plan to win a short round. So, Orianna on deploy will give an enemy unit bleeding with a duration equal to the number of vampires you have on your side of the board. So if you have 5 vampires on the board, she will give 5 bleeding. Now, on the range row, every ally turn at the end, she will boost herself by the number of bleeding enemy units. So if you have 8 bleeding going on there on 8 different units, you will have 8 points per turn for Orianna. She will keep boosting herself. Now obviously this is very strong, as you also have some nice reach with your leader ability, Blood Scent. You can use the leader ability 3 times. It will give bleeding for 3 turns, and after you used all of them, it will spawn an Ikimara, which is another 3 points. So if you use Blood Scent immediately with Orianna, already you're guaranteed at least 4 points boost on Orianna every turn. So it's not bad. You want to make sure she remains safe, and that's also why we have the Cave Patrol. Preferably you want to protect her, but there are so many strong cards in this deck currently, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to protect something else instead. It depends on what you're going for. Now, another boost our lovely vampire deck has gotten is that of Katakan. Katakan is a vampire. If you need a proactive card and you have no targets for bleeding right yet, you can play Katakan. You will immediately be able to use his order ability and spawn an Ikimara, which is 3 points. Then, after 4 turns with cooldown 4, you can click the order ability again and spawn another Ikimara for 3 points. But you can reduce the cooldown by 1 whenever you apply bleeding to an enemy unit, which is just about every turn, a few times, 8 turns. So Katakan turns into a 3-point engine every turn or every second turn, depending on what you've played this round, and just gives you extra 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. It's so strong, and I just love this rework, if I'm gonna be honest. Alright, then we have Detlef. Now, Detlef will spawn Blood Moon on an enemy row for 2 turns. Blood Moon is the same as what we get through Crimson Curse. Crimson Curse gives Blood Moon for 5 turns, so it's a bit more strong depending on what round you're in. Normally you want to commit Crimson Curse round 1 into a long round because it takes 5 turns before you actually get to pull off all of the value. And it will also spawn 2 Ekimaras on the opposite row. So with Detlef, what he does is he gives you Blood Moon for 2 turns, and then increased duration by 1 for every adjacent vampire. So if you play him between 2 vampires, it means Blood Moon will go off for 4 turns instead of 2. Now he also has an order ability. Order means you can click him every turn, and with that you can damage an enemy unit that already has bleeding. If you kill the unit, the Death Blow ability goes live and it spawns an Ekimara on this row. So with the Ekimara you get an extra 3 points. It's not bad. He's a pretty strong card, but he's not as strong as the Unseen Elder, one of your strongest vampires in the entire deck. So the Unseen Elder does need Devotion to be at his strongest, hence the reason we have an all-out Devotion deck. We don't have Heatwave, we don't have a Neuromancy. We decided to go for monsters only instead. And what he does is he gives 4 bleeding to an enemy unit. At the end of the turn, he will give bleeding 2 to a random enemy unit without bleeding every single turn. So very strong engine. But with Devotion, bleeding on an enemy unit will also trigger at the end of your turn. What does this mean? Normally bleeding triggers at the end of your enemy's turn, right? You'll see all those bleeding tick off and every unit gets damaged by 1. Often some units have like 6 bleeding and you only have 2 turns left, so it doesn't really matter. You're only gonna get 2 points of damage, right? Unseen Elder gets you double the ticks in half the time, right? So what it essentially does is, at the end of your turn, all the blood from your enemy's row will tick, and at the end of their turn, all of it will tick. So in 2 turns now, you'd rather get something like 4 points of damage instead of just 2. He's incredibly strong. You want to keep him safe. He's so strong that some players put in Karanthier to make another copy of him. You have Spessy, who I think made a deck with Sabbath, Witch's Sabbath, just to get another copy of the Unseen Elder. I think it's a cool idea. It's just I don't always draw my cards round 1, so I think you can often brick if you go all out with Unseen Elder. But yeah, he's incredibly strong. And then the last card I want to show you is Naglfar. Naglfar is the only tutor in this deck. It looks at the top 2, it looks at 2 random gold cards from your deck, then plays one and plays the other on top. So you'll get to peek at 2 cards. You can play one in this round, and the next round will draw you the other gold immediately. This is the only way to get you your strong cards. So you shouldn't shuffle too many of your gold cards away if you draw them round 1. Rather keep them, and if you have to commit some of them, do so. You want to keep Regis in hand, because chances are you might not draw him again. If you do draw him round 1, keep him there. It's also nice to see him tick every turn, see him grow more powerful. And the other way I've thinned the deck so your chances are increased to draw the cards you need is by Wild Hunt Riders. If you have dominance, meaning you have the biggest card on the board, you will draw your copy out of the deck, making the deck a little bit smaller to guarantee you draw your good cards. Okay guys, this has been it. I really hope you enjoy this deck. I know I love playing it. Yeah, you just want essentially to win round 1, go into a long round 3, and have all of your engines get maximum duration to play off. The longer the round, the better. Now, if it happens that you have to bleed round 2, or you went too deep in round 1, and you're stuck with a short round, Regis will pull off a win most of the time. Just make sure you have last say, or else you might get heat waved if you're unlucky. And that has been it, guys. I'm going to show you 3 games now. I hope you enjoy this deck guide. I will post another one soon of Skellige with King Bran. I feel like that deck is very consistent and it's rather strong. I'll make more decks throughout the week, and I hope you guys enjoy the patch. Okay, so let's see if this counts as a ranked match. We're playing against Iced, possibly King Bran. Scutlam. In one time in the month, I am the same rank as Tia. Yeah, I didn't bother to grind the meta last month too much. We played mostly Skellige and Squirtle, but didn't play Alumni. I didn't really want to play Alumni, I don't know. This hand is looking good, very strong. 2 Fleaders in hand, too much I'd say. And I don't want Detlef yet. New skins? Yeah. You've got Young Bran as well as Radovid. When will you try Deathwish AQ? Is so good. We will try it, potentially tomorrow. Okay, I shall begin with... We don't have Necurat. It's not amazing. Maybe we'll go with Alp for now. No, we need to go with Bruxa. I can't access my reward book? No. Ah, that's not great. Not great at all. We'll go with Garka now. Can you access your reward book? You're in yours? Okay, I'll just have to update again.
Raid, we fight, plunder, full service.
They're making it a bit difficult for me with this pesky Heme Protector. It's now on the main page, okay. It looks all effed up. I think we'll get a Christmas event. We should.
What's 3 hours in me arse? A pinprick, that's what.
Yeah, this is a bit awkward for me. If it wasn't for the Heme Protector, I'd be good. Alfie, thanks for the follow. No event at this time. It won't be huge necessarily, but they were generous last time.
That's how we'll end you.
Okay, we are on red coins, so that's fine. If we can win on even, that would be great for us. The monkey, Lulu. Yay. He definitely wouldn't want to go too deeply into the round, as he might have something like Iced in hand, or even King Bran. I might have to commit Unseen Elder again. I find myself committing him a lot in round 1, but if it gets me ahead, then it gets me ahead. Ooh, 3.
Have my sword, and I'll do some axes.
Aww. You want the deck? Just vampires. Do I get ahead here? I don't think I do. I think I might though. At the end of your turn, give 2 bleeding to an enemy unit, so I get 2 points. Yes. Okay, give me my good cards, please. Please give me good cards. What do you guys think about the new icon for Order? I'm still getting used to it, in all honesty. I want to bleed out his ice, but if I don't get a short round, Regis, I don't win. I need Orianna. I might just go for the long round. That makes sense. If I don't draw anything then I won't draw it now either. Drummond the Berserker.
I'll smash your mug! Shut the fight, you bastard! Women, children, elders. Be spared none.
I keep missing crucial cards in this deck. I don't know how I miss so many cards every time. It's weird.
Sit at my table and let's drink.
At least I got Regis. I know, I could. We have stunning. We just played it.
You'll sleep when you're dead. Nay, feed our foes to the crabs while they still live.
We just played stunning. Deck is under a vampires.
Skeletor and Sintra shall stand ever together.
So, no one else dares face me?
foul blood!
We're closer than you think. Ouch.
Treason! Turncoats! Rats! If you believe in any gods, pray to them now!
Thanks, Sini. I appreciate it. Yeah, I ate so much cake. It was loads of fun.
Your skull will make a fine panther.
I know you're in trouble. You can help.
Kick! Hell yeah, Regis! Regis OP! We don't even draw our cards and we still win with Regis. What? Oh no.
I will not let this become a second Sodden.
No, not again. Okay.
Taking up berries. Would you like an arrow to the head instead?
If you bleed Aldane, yeah, the problem is just that Aldane isn't their main thing.
I smile at.
It's just like an extra thing they happen to have. So if you bleed them too much, they can still just gourd you. At least I found. And the problem with this is the moment you take away my bleeding, Regis just fails. Because right now he's a 1-point card with a 6-point order ability. 7 points.
Style. That's right. I like fighting with style.
Okay, at least we have a unit now. Because yeah, you just beat Regis by playing unitless.
I trust no one. Never have.
Milva, please. There's gonna be so many memes regarding Milva. Just watch it. Okay, at least we are red coin here. Oh no, Milva. No, have mercy, Milva. No. Oh. Milva just pops out to say hello, kills you, pops back in. If only we had deck manipulation. Nilfgaard would be the anti-meta as always. It looks so troll. Milva is like the predator of Gwent. How does Milva interact with Ard? She'll pop out if you use Ard. She'll pop out because you've moved an enemy unit, essentially. I don't have anything to secure the win. He's gonna likely get Milva out again.
An ill wind blows.
If you believe in any gods, pray to them now.
Okay, we got out. Now what? You guys want me to bleed? Natsu thinks of the follow. Imagine a T-Rex with a bow, that's Milva. What if your own units are moving? I don't think so. I think that would be bonkers. Because you'd end up having movement decks trigger Milva every single time. You want me to pass? Go into a long round, perhaps. I mean, I feel like a long round is the way to do it. Also, we don't yet have Regis. Meaning we're not guaranteed a strong short round.
Bet for the revolution.
You're back for a while? Hey, Lucifer, how are you doing? We're still trying vampires. We tried some Skellige, and it's really nice. It's really nice. Ah, Regis. Hello there, buddy. Buddy old pal, how are you doing? We're missing our defender, that's for sure. But, yeah, we're missing our defender. Okay, not having a defender does suck, as nothing is surviving. Oh goodness me.
Do you hear? They approach.
Come on, Regis, we need you. 3, 4, 5, 6. We just need Regis to be absolutely astronomically big, and then we're fine. Last say should help. Melee. Okay.
I trust no one. Never have.
Can you buy all the new cards? Yeah, you can.
One more feather, and we're done.
He's giving me units to work with, which changes things, to be fair. It certainly changes things. Now, if he has removal, he will use it now. Then I play Orianna.
Don't you fret about me. Can take care of myself.
I want to say we'll win this, but let's just see.
To play with my prey, I enjoy that.
You see? You must hold it in your teeth first.
Ah, it was cute. I appreciate that he tried. He got it right. He just gave it a little crescendo for some reason. It's like mid brr. He was so excited. It just went higher and higher. His voice afterwards was also very high. Tia, take your pill. No. Okay, everybody told me about it, and I wasn't watching because I was prepping for the next semis. And they were like, you should correct it in the next one. And I thought he went burr, because most people who can't say it go burr. So I said, it's not burr, Shinmiri, it's brr. But he got it right. He actually got it right. He just gave it its own little twist. That sounded like a Dutch dialect. It's really similar, honestly. Again, I can really understand them and they can understand me most of the time. Because remember, Afrikaans came from Dutch. The Dutch settlers in Cape Town in South Africa, they initially started talking a little bit differently, and then Afrikaans was born, but it came directly from Dutch. Okay, we're red coin. Need to be careful. Maybe I go for Bruxa first. Has anyone clipped the Shinmiri? Brr. Spacey also lost against a monster deck with 4 Maddox. Really? Interesting. I can see him making his own version, to be fair. I didn't think that English was the first language. Yeah, English is the first language for most of us. Well, how can I put this? It's more like English is the second language for most of us. But it's a second language we all must have. So we all have our common tongues. I grew up in an Afrikaans home. You have people growing up in isiXhosa homes, Zulu homes. You know, we have 11 official languages. And then you learn English to communicate with the entire community. So that's why our accents are so pronounced, because we tend to all have a different language. You also have people who just speak English, to be fair. There are many of them. But yeah, a lot of us have other languages as our main language, and that's why the English is so strong. Well, the weird accent we have. It's because we don't grow up speaking only English, we speak our mother tongue. Never knew it sounded that much alike that I could actually understand what you were saying. Oh, are you also Dutch? Pindakaas is baas. Butterkaas is Pindakaas. Dit klink lekker en smaaklik. Alrighty. I shall go with an Alp. Pass is for Woos. We're not passing. No, we're not. That's not what I'm saying. You want to hear more brr? We have to play more brr decks. Otherwise, we're not allowed to. It's not a weird accent. Sounds lovely. I mean, thank you. I think maybe it sounds different to people who don't hear it all the time. I think I go for Garkin. We likely don't win this round. I can't imagine we do. It would have been nice on red coin. I can't sin. That's a load of commitment for round 1. What? Why? I was like getting out anyway. What's happening? Okay, you can have the round. Frostix. I remember hearing the African language with tongue clicks fairly often when we were walking around. There were so many languages to hear. African language was clicks. Yeah. It's rather difficult to actually study. Because we have to study Xhosa mostly when we're in school. Along with English, and you could study Afrikaans. But yeah, we all had to study Xhosa. And like even the word Xhosa, that's the English way of saying it. The real way is saying isi Xhosa. Isi Xhosa. It's difficult to say. It's spelled like this. And in Xhosa you actually say isi in front of it. Isi Xhosa. You have like little pre-words depending on what the noun is. It's quite interesting. It carries over in the sentence. Hand is looking rather amazing. I think I hold on to everything I have here. Nothing I want to throw away. Vleeder is a must. Neki Rat is a must. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. It's peanut butter in Dutch. It's tasty. Oh, really? Peanut butter. Pindakaas. Why do you have the cheese word in it? How do you normally say cheese? Just kaas? What do we call it? We call it peanut butter in English. We hardly ever call it in Afrikaans. This hand is perfect. I am keeping it. Cheese is kaas? Yeah, cheese is kaas in Afrikaans at least. Here we go. We call it butter. It's something broodjie botter. Something broodjie botter, I think.
This one has the life force of a cockroach.
Okay. Grondboontjie botter. Yeah, that's what we call it. Grondboontjie botter. Which translates to ground bean butter. Also doesn't make sense. To be fair. It also doesn't make sense. What am I missing? Katakan. Katakan, come here. Come here, Katakan. Cheese is kaas. No clue how the kaas. Yeah, I thought as much. You probably also have a weird reason for calling it that. Like we call butterfly, which means butterfly, to be fair. Schoenlapper, which means shoe, like flapper almost. It doesn't make sense. Like, don't overthink it. Maybe the stuff was so thick they called it cheese. Do we play Elder early? I'm considering doing so, in all honesty. After killing this guy really quickly. Right now we're both holding back. That much is clear. Bam. I think Vivin chat, the ultimate vampire queen. True Test wants me to insult him in Afrikaans. True Test, mag jy van jou grondboontjie botter laat val op jou splinternuwe mat? Gale. I said what I had to. Whee! Katakan carrying the game. The process of cutting it was similar to cast. Oh, interesting. But don't panic, chat. We still win. Translate in Afrikaans. I said I hope your peanut butter is dropped on your favorite carpet. Holland. Dutch, does this mean Danes or Holland? Holland. Orianna. Sad Orianna. Ooh, Katakan. Woo.
If you believe in any gods, pray to them now.
Anyone got some nice advice? Well, first you can download with this link. Oh my gosh, it's Regis. What? No, stop. Okay, I have to respect that. I shouldn't have done that. I should have targeted something else. I was still flabbergasted by the fact that we just faced Regis. Yeah, and you can check out some YouTube videos. And yeah, I've got a few. There are some beginner series floating around if you want to check those out. Let's just do this. Kablammo, I think we win. And yeah, if you start off, try and save up your resources and invest it in the same faction. You want one good deck. That's all you want. You only have so many resources, so make sure you invest them in one deck that works, and then you climb with that deck. And every time you win, you get more resources, you put them away, and then when you can make another deck.